You are listening to the Disruptor series. Our world is constantly evolving, and at the forefront of that change are women who dare to disrupt. I'm Jennifer Fields.
And I'm Sydney Robertson. Join us as we bring you an exclusive look into the journeys of visionary female founders and influential corporate leaders.
Get ready for candid conversations, a dose of inspiration, and actionable takeaways from the disruptors themselves. Let's dive in.
Hello, and welcome back to the Disruptor Series podcast. We are in studio today with the amazing Kristen Butler to hear all about her story and her amazing journey. I am going to read out Kristen's full bio because I want to do it justice. She's quite an accomplished lady. Kristen Butler is a former Google Canada senior leader turned leadership coach and a co-founder of the Unlock Leadership Collective alongside Sarah Scarfield. After nearly 2 decades leading transformation, sales, and enablement and culture building initiatives at Google, Kristen is now bringing her experience to the next generation of leaders through Unlock's signature programs and immersive experiences designed to spark growth and self-awareness and authentic leadership. A proud mom of 2 high-performance athletes, Kristen believes growth comes from doing hard things, embracing struggle, practicing self-compassion, and leading from a calm, grounded sense of self. She lives in Oakville, Ontario with her husband, daughter, son, and mini Woodle.
Mm-hmm.
What is a Woodle?
It's a Wheaten Terrier Poodle mix.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jenny, let's kick it off with some great questions for Kristen.
Yeah, welcome, Kristen. We're so excited to have you here. Well, to kick things off, I don't know if I shared this with you yet, but similar to you, I also have a South Korean ethnic background. But different from you, I had a very different upbringing compared to how you grew up. So why don't we start there and you can share with us how you came to Canada?
Yeah, so I was adopted, and I like to say around the age of 6 because it's really actually unclear. A lot of the circumstances around my adoption, it's like a lot of question marks, a lot of stories I've been told, but really I don't actually know what's real at this point and what's not. I arrived in Canada on like a Friday evening, and my family literally sent me to kindergarten on Monday.
No.
Yeah. It was like, you are now our child, you're now Canadian, you're now part of this family. And I was just like sent off to school.
This is going to sound really ignorant, but could you speak English at the time?
Nope.
No, you were just thrown into a school where you couldn't even understand what they were saying to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And do you recall what you were shared on why you were moving to Canada?
Nope. I have no idea. I think before I arrived in Canada, I have memories of being in an orphanage, and I have memories of being with a foster family, and even like the stories or what was written in my adoption papers says that I was abused in that foster care. And so I had arrived and I had burns on my legs.
Oh my gosh.
And I arrived with a bunch of babies. So I was the oldest, and it was more like it's not as common to be adopted as an older child. But for me, like when I look back on this journey, it's been a lot of trying to make sense of it. And so for me, I've been trying to make sense of the stories and the history, because like the entire era of the 60s to the 90s, South Korea basically exported children. And it's like this very shameful part of their history. And I think they have their own sort of truth and reconciliation programming and communication and efforts that they're making, because so many people are coming forward and acknowledging that there was coercion, there was falsification of documents, there was an entire system that the government created and endorsed to basically get rid of their own social welfare issues, but also to create connections with the West. And so there's a lot of stories like mine where I think the story I understand is my birth mother sent me to be cared for by a friend temporarily. And it was that friend that gave me away.
So in essence, not to be dramatic, but you're basically kidnapped.
Yeah.
in a way, right? Like you were ripped from your home, ripped from your whatever identity you knew to a whole new country where you didn't understand and the language. You were injured. What a scary experience for a 6-year-old.
Yeah. And I think about how just adaptable children are, because I felt like, I'm like, okay, this is my new home now. And I just became what what was expected of me.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when I look back, I felt like I was just a commodity, like I was given away.
Right.
And then when I look at the story of my adoption, like my adoptive family, there was 3 biological sons. There was a daughter they had adopted as a baby from Bangladesh. And then that daughter grew up and wanted a sister. And so they basically just procured a sister, and magically I appear, right? Like I'm already grown. I'm already like ready to go as a sister. And then unfortunately, I think that novelty wore off, and then I was sort of discarded.
How was that dynamic? So you come into the household, you're the new sister, like the Barbie doll sister, basically brought in the gift for the older sibling.
Yeah.
How was that? How did you feel in the dynamic of the family?
Like that was the only purpose I served. And so it was like many years of like neglect, pretty much. And there were so many stories of like growing up and like, you know, you expect your parent to get up and like make you breakfast and make your lunch and get you off to school in the morning. And that was an experience I did alone. Like no one woke up to send me off to school. Wow. And so I was the youngest of 5 children. And so I felt like also by that time, my parents were done parenting. So I felt like a very lonely experience. And also being in a rural white community, like I didn't see other Asian people, you know, in my school, in my community. I didn't have other connections to my Asian culture. It was just immediate, like I mentioned, Friday, you know, you arrive, Monday you go to school, you're now white, you're now Canadian. And so I felt very disconnected from...
You're in survival mode.
Yes.
You're just trying to cope, survive, fit in where you can. You have no sense of identity, right? But you're just trying to exist.
Yeah, I would say even right up until my 30s, like I was surprised to see my reflection in the mirror.
Wow.
Like I felt such a disconnection from my physical appearance. Even like I remember in high school, my friends being like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that you're Asian." And I'm like, "Yeah, I forget it too." Like it was a forgetting of my culture, my background.
On purpose in a way, so you can assimilate.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it felt like that was expected. That was what they wanted, right?
At what age did you retrace back to your roots and kind of learned the story of how you came to Canada?
I think I was always very curious as a child, and I asked a lot of questions, but didn't receive a lot of answers. There was a lot of reluctance and hesitation from my adoptive family. And then I just always planned in my mind, because I was like a planner and I was very determined, that I was going to go to university. I was going to get my degree. I was going to go move to Korea. I was going to find my birth mother. I was going to go teach there. Like I had a whole plan. Wow. It was like set. And so I did that. So I finished university, basically bought my airplane ticket, like went to South Korea, found myself a job. I like packed my diploma in my suitcase, like took a suitcase, and that's what I had. And I just went. And so I started the process of finding my birth mother, going to my adoption agency, and they found her. So I reconnected with her. It was very surreal. And it was shocking, actually, because...
Did you recognize yourself in her?
No. I feel like the story was that she had been in some sort of accident and she had had some plastic surgery, which is not uncommon in Korea. So no, I felt like I didn't really recognize her. And I think the most shocking part of the whole thing was I had just said this the story in my mind was when I meet my birth mother, everything will make sense. My life will make sense. I will make sense. I will belong. I will feel whole.
It's your sense of purpose, right? It just, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. But then,
So then that happens. And then how do you feel then?
shattered because nothing made sense.
And here you are, so accomplished. You bought your plane ticket. You have your diploma. This is it. This is the moment you're reconnected with your birth mother. And then you don't see anything of yourself in her. You're not connected.
Yeah.
And now what?
Yeah, I think I went into a bit of a tailspin because I was like, what am I doing here? Like everything was so difficult because I looked Korean, and being there, like there was just so much judgment. It was like, wow, you should try harder. That was the theme from everyone.
Even at that stage after you've accomplished all these things?
Yeah, but because I didn't speak the language, because I lost it.
Because you were ripped from your, okay.
Well, yeah, you had no one to speak it with.
I had no one to
You're
speak
stuck in
it
a school
with.
yeah, no one spoke your language.
Yeah. Like my kindergarten teacher literally she sent me to the corner and would punish me because she thought I could speak English and I was just refusing to. So that that's the kind of like mindset that we were dealing with.
And then you go back to Korea and you're punished for then
Not being
had to
Korean
assimilate. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't Korean enough. So and the message from everyone was you need to try harder. And so it was just such a shock for me to be like, because I've been telling myself this story for as long as I can remember as a child, because you don't belong anywhere. So you think that will be the answer, like the reconnection with my mother, right? And wanting a mother that would like nurture me and would take care of me and that would like unconditionally love me. And I felt like that is what I wanted more than anything in my entire life. And then when I got there and met this woman, I was like, hey, I just like, you're not who I imagined you to be. Like she was like very stylish, very fashionable. Like you imagine this like Korean mother that you're thinking, you know, almost like a Korean grandmother or something who's going to like
embrace you with a hug and be
cook
warm and
for
welcoming.
you
Yeah.
and like just like hug you and love you and, you know, fuss over you. And she did, but it was just like, it was like, I didn't know how to connect with her.
When you first saw her, was there any, like, was she emotional?
Yes. And she had brought a whole crew of like aunties and like other women that I have no idea who they are.
Right, sure, yeah.
And so it was me versus like 6 women.
Overwhelming.
All crying and like trying to hug me. And I was just like, what is happening right now? Like this is.
And you've never had that kind of love from your family back in Canada, right? So
yeah. But also just like, I don't know. It wasn't the like soul filling or connecting experience that
didn't
I
feel
thought it was
authentic
going to be.
to you?
It just felt like, I don't know. It was like, it wasn't what I imagined. My expectations just did not meet reality at all.
I'd imagine like if you're going through that kind of level of survival, you had to create this moment to get through, right? Right? It's like the Wizard of Oz, right? It's like, well, of course it's a magical and amazing at the end, because if you didn't, like, it was that created hope for you, right?
Yes.
Something to work towards.
It was.
Yeah.
It was absolutely what I was clinging to.
Yeah.
Like it was, I don't know, it was just part of the plan.
Yeah.
Right? And it was interesting for me to like realize that things do not go as planned.
In life.
Yeah.
True.
Well, that feeling of, lacking your identity, it sounds like you kind of filled that hole with your role at Google and working at Google, because you worked there for, is it 18 years?
Almost 18 years.
That's insane. That's crazy. You basically grew up in your job, right?
Yeah.
You started off as a junior role and then just moved up
Yeah.
to like a very senior position at the end. You're not there anymore. So did you go through again that other sense, that feeling of loss of identity when you left Google?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I came back from Korea,
What was this first step? Like,
Yeah.
how did you go from that
Yeah.
experience to then landing a big job at Google? That's a huge, like, not jump, but it is kind of a huge step for you.
Yeah, I came home just feeling so lost. Like it was like
Sorry, how long were you there? So you go, you meet your mom, you meet all the aunties and everyone. Are you there for like a week, a month?
I was there for 6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah. My plan was to stay for a year.
Yeah.
And I just got to the point where nothing was working out.
Yeah.
Even the job that I was working at, I ended up working for a guy who was a complete shyster. And so it just
All part of the journey.
Nothing worked out. Right. And nothing worked out how I planned. And I just felt like I literally had no identity because I had been clinging to this identity of being Canadian and I'd become Canadian. And then I went to Korea and I was like, oh my God, like I don't fit in anywhere. Like I didn't really feel like I fit in back home. And now I don't fit in here in Korea.
You're in this like liminal space where you're like, I don't even know where I connect with anyone.
But it was at least that pull back to Canada still felt like home, and it felt like at least I can ground myself again. And so it was amazing to have a good friend that I had grown up with, and I called her up, and literally she's the most amazing person, and I'm still so close with her today. But it literally was like, I need a place to live and I need a job. And she's like, done. So just come home. So I literally came home, went straight to Scarborough where she was living with a bunch of girls. And like, she gave me a futon and a room and a job. And I was working in a restaurant with her. And through that restaurant job, I actually was serving a CEO and VP's lunch every day. And they were like, tell me your story. Like, you're obviously smart. And I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. And they were like, give me your resume. And I remember back in the day when they said, give me your CV. And I was like, what is a CV? And I literally like just took the job, whatever job they gave me, which was a sales job at their software company.
Where is this?
It's in like near Don Valley Parkway. But it's a pension administration software company. So they did a lot of like union and government pension administration. And so I learned that, and I did that for a couple of years while still waitressing. So I didn't give up on that. And then my boyfriend at the time, he had a friend who had a girlfriend who worked at Google. And so I applied and got in, and it just went from there. But honestly, like, I think I really doubled down on my work, my career as being my identity, and the people there being my family.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it just goes to show that like actual, like biological family isn't always your family. Like your friends are your family in some cases, right? And like, that's an amazing, beautiful story about your friend giving you a chance, and then another friend through a friend. Like, I actually got my first job in media because of Jenny. True fact, right? My first job at Rogers, my job at Yahoo. Like, it is like it does become like your work family can become your tribe, right?
Yeah. I mean, people literally, my nickname became Mama KB. So I literally became people's work moms, and like,
you are very well loved there, I can tell you. Very well loved.
But that became my identity for a long time, right? I think I just loved working there, and I have such fond memories.
What was your favorite part of working there? Beyond being Mama KB?
It was literally just like the passion and excitement and fun of like working with really smart people who really care. And honestly, I think some of the best years were just being on the ground, helping. Like, I had the privilege of working with a bunch of like mid-scale startups. And it was a bit of an experiment period of our large customer sales Google business, where we were investing more deep service with clients that wouldn't normally get that level of service. And so seeing them grow from these companies that were in these like back office in some weird plaza in the middle of nowhere into like this amazing company, global companies with like boardrooms and like, you know, culture issues. Like, you know, they've graduated to, you know, that level of company. And it was just such a joy to work with
You were their
them.
moms too, right?
But
Helping
nurturing.
them, right?
Yeah. And so I just loved like the investment I felt from Google as well, like in my leadership journey, like I was given so many great opportunities to learn. I was sent to so many different trainings that were incredible, in partnership with really great companies like Kellogg and Duke University. Like these were really world-class trainings. And so I feel like the person that I am now, even being able to speak, in a podcast, is because of so much practice and so much training.
They invested in you.
Yes.
Right? They believed in you.
Yeah. And I felt like there was just endless opportunity. Like I stayed for so long because it was always changing. There was always a new challenge. I was always put into a new position. And at the time you're going through a reorg, you don't appreciate it. Like you're a bit like, this is not my choice, but it was always such a blessing in hindsight, because it was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so glad, right? Because otherwise you can get too comfortable and too complacent or too like stuck. And I never felt stuck, because every 2, 3, 4 years,
It's by design, right?
New role, new
perspective.
title, new vertical, new product. It was always something, right, to look forward to. So I felt like so much growth, so much learning, and such a privilege. So I'm just really grateful for that chapter. But to your question, like, when I knew that there was a reorg coming and this reorg wouldn't actually benefit me at Google anymore, you know what? I felt this like feeling like this is meant to be, because I've been telling myself for years that I would never leave. Why would I leave? Like all my friends are here. But there's no reason to leave, right? And that's the golden handcuffs of being at such an incredible company with amazing benefits and pay and all of this stuff. So my friends at Google and I would always joke around. It'd be great if we got let go, but not for a shameful reason. Like,
Leave with glory.
Nothing shameful, but like it'd be great to be able to have that freedom. And I feel like I actually manifested it a year prior with my coach, and that I was feeling a bit stuck, or I was feeling like I can't take the risk of leaving. But part of my heart wanted to, because I just felt like there was more that I could do. But
you also, you launched the LEAD program, which is massive and a huge part of your creation at Google. So you have to tell us a little bit about the LEAD program.
Yeah.
Yes. So the quick story on that is I had become a people manager at Google, and I had the immense privilege of being a part of the PwC Women in Leadership program. And they most recently celebrated their 10-year anniversary of that program. So it was incredible that they actually did it for PwC, but they always have friends of PwC that would participate. So I was the lucky person that got to participate that year, and it was when COVID hit. And so it was honestly my saving grace through probably the most anxiety and just unhinging year for me personally. And it was such an incredible experience, because it was the first time I was a part of a leadership program that wasn't about like financial statements and like how to have business acumen and what are the growth principles, like all the things that you associate with traditional leadership capability. And it was something more transformational. It was like, what are your core values? And it was like, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what your
core values.
Yeah. I was like, what is
language
this?
are you speaking?
Resilience, vulnerability.
And during the pandemic, nonetheless, right? Where you're just feeling so unsettled. The whole world's upside down. We're all lost in our own way. So more than ever, it's like, what are my core
authentic leadership?
Yes. Yeah. That word, right? Authentic. Like, what does that even mean? Right.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like such an awakening. It was like, I describe it as like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But there were so many moments and there was one moment around resilience where it was like, I think serendipitous that the organizers somehow nominated or asked me whether or not I'd be willing to share on that that exercise or that workshop on resilience. And so I was like, okay. And I felt like something pulling me to say yes. So I was like, yes. So in front of a group of like, I don't know, 40 other women on the screen, right? I, for the first time, started to share that personal story of my adoption, of my resilience,
so vulnerable.
of like, and there's things I haven't mentioned already, but like multiple examples of abuse growing up. And so those were things that I had to survive and struggle through. But the number of times I feel like I literally had nothing but the belongings with me, I had that multiple times from the time I was, a child until 30, where I had nothing. Like I literally just had what I had.
Wow.
And I just never gave up on myself, and I just kept going. And the fact that I could sit here now and I have the most beautiful family, the most beautiful home, most amazing career, it's like.
I would hug you right now. If I didn't
know.
have a microphone in front of me, I would hug you.
I know, but
Yeah.
but like resilience is like, oh my God. But I bawled my eyes out. I could barely get the words out. But it was the first time I shared that personal side of me at work.
Yeah.
During work hours at a work thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no, like a,
Yeah. But then
video
it's
conference
like that door opened, and then it just became, that felt like that was the start of my healing journey.
Yeah.
And there is this idea of like actually being seen, being understood, having others like witness your story and being witnessed. It's like, this is the real healing. Because before that, I had done therapy, multiple rounds of therapy with different therapists. And like, I just always still felt lost. And for some reason, it was like when I started actually sharing my story into the universe. And
It's different, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a solo experience.
Yeah.
When you're doing therapy, it's a one-on-one.
Yeah.
It's an internal reflection, right? When you're talking in front of that many people, it's like sharing, you're part of a collective. It's a very different experience.
Well, maybe it's also just the acknowledgement, right? And feeling like you're seen and heard.
Yeah.
That's what's healing as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so because of that experience, it's like I became hooked. Like I was like, this is...
It's like a drug. You're like, I got my fix.
I want this in my life. Like this isn't something I do as a program and I'm done, right? Like this felt like work that, I'm just starting. Mm-hmm. And then I continued with PwC as a small group facilitator, as a mentor, and I continued to do that. And I remember it was with one of my small groups 2 years later. And I literally said to them on a video call, I'm like, I want to start a women leadership program at Google. And it literally felt like embarrassing, a bit audacious, because you're just like, who am I, right? Like, I don't know, it feels uncomfortable sharing your dream with people. It still does at times. But I said it. And then literally like a couple of like things unfolded. And I said yes to leading women at Google Employee Resource Group again. Because I had done it years before, but I felt a calling to do it again. And I feel like I was listening to work that was about women need to rise, and they need to rise so that they can be in a position of power, and they use that power to do good, right? And to lift others. And so I felt compelled. And so I did that. And then next thing you know, I have an opportunity in front of me to pitch to our leadership at Google to build Sabrina and Anush to build this program.
Wow. And
I pitched them like, we can do this. And they gave us a scrappy budget. And I honestly don't think they expected much. Like, I think they're like, yeah, sure. Like, we'll throw a little money at it. Let's make it cross.
But they believed in you. At the end of the day, whether it was a small project to begin with, they took a chance and believed in what you were saying. And they believed in what you were going to build.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned in my career that like if you call it a pilot, people are more likely to say yes. They're like, yes, it's a pilot, it's an experiment, it's all good. And so we did it, and then we had the most magical experience. Mm-hmm. We graduated over the 2 years, over 70 women. And I think the one thing I missed the most is the graduation ceremony that we would have. And it was the final element of the program. It was like a 6-7 month journey for these participants. And it was, I think, so just holistic because we guided them through every step, and we provided them with a mentor. We provided with them a certified coach. We provided them with full day workshops, and we expanded from 2 to 3. So we had 3 full days of working through and sharing. We also had small groups, so they would meet with their small groups, and they had a facilitator of those small groups. So there was just constant moments for them to connect and touch base and work through it, through their week, through their months. And then graduation was like, okay, we want a few people to tell their stories. And again, it's that moment, right? That moment of being seen, feeling understood, having so many people like that aren't part of that full experience, sharing that with them. So the executives, the leaders, the men, the managers, like all of those people in the room, it's such a moment of vulnerability for these women to get up on that stage and like in front of their manager, in front of a bunch of men, right? Tell their stories. And everyone's always in tears. Everyone's always like leaving that space. Like, wow, like this program needs to continue. This program is incredible.
No longer a pilot.
Yeah, I know. Well, and it was funny because the first year after graduation, Tam was one of the ones that told her story. She was incredible. But I remember the VP of Cloud immediately went to his town hall and said, we're doubling the number of participants in this program.
Wow.
Because it was like immediate.
Women really, I think, gravitate to these types of programs because not only because they have this opportunity now to unleash and really reveal and talk about what's really at their core, but also just, I think a lot of us, at least I'm a woman who also works in tech. So like, I feel like there's constantly this pull towards having to conform to the way that most male executives communicate or the way that they deliver or the way that they win. But we want to all stay really true to ourselves. And I find that more women tend to lean more towards empathy as well. And so this is just so beautiful. Like I wish we had a program like this at our office as well, at our company as well.
Well, so that was the second part of this dream, right? And manifesting. So I started to say, because it was so successful at Google, I was like, I actually really want to do this outside of Google.
It's your superpower.
And I said the thing, right? I said it out loud to other people.
Yep,
and
you can't
then,
take it back.
Yeah. And the reoccurring theme or quote of my life right now has been like, be careful what you wish for, or what you wish for comes true.
Powerful. You're powerful. You are.
No, but it happens in ways you don't expect.
I know.
And so for me to say that out loud and share that dream, and then I got laid off at Google and suddenly, and Lead became sunset because of changes in DEI policy. But it's like those two things coming together at the same time felt like a sign from the universe, but it also felt like, oh,
and you left with grace, like your wish, right? You said like someday I can't leave because you love Google, but if you're going to leave with grace, and you absolutely left with grace.
I know. And
it's your next chapter.
I know. And I think I'm coming back to your original question of like that shift in identity again. It was, I knew that like, okay, this is happening and I am going to feel all of it.
What was it like the first day you woke up after you said goodbye to Google? That first day when you weren't going to the office, putting on your little Google ID card, whatever. Yeah.
It was actually funny because I was actually on vacation.
Oh.
So I had actually already planned to be on vacation, and my last day was July 4th. And it was like the 4th of July. So we actually celebrated 4th of July, and I was in the US. So we were like literally celebrating, celebrating with fireworks. And then the next day just felt like, I don't know. You know, what was interesting actually, which I was very surprised at, was the people around me actually also struggled with the shift in identity. So my son, who his whole life, he's 10, his whole life, his mom has worked at Google. And he literally gave me the hardest time, and it kind of like shook me a bit because he was like, well, what am I going to tell my friends? I've literally been telling my friends and everyone that my mom works at Google and it's so cool. So he's like, where are you going to work?
Is it
where are
as
you going to
cool?
work? That's
He's
as
more
cool as
heartbroken than
Google.
you are.
And so he was like, literally like, let's brainstorm this. Like, where are you going to work? And I was like, dude, like, give me a minute.
Give me a hot second here. It's
give me a
18
minute.
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it literally was for me, I'm like, I know that it's like, it was like stages of grieving. Mm-hmm. And I knew there was gonna be a lot of stages, and I felt all those stages, the anger, the sadness, the like resentment, like every stage of it, denial even. Cause I was even meeting with my business partner, Sarah, one day, and she was like, so how's it going with the shift in your identity? Cause she was always checking in on me on this. And it was a month after I had left. And I go, well, I just threw in my application for a role at Google. So, and she was like, okay, so not well. Or like, so you're not. And I was kind of like, no, not yet. It's like
You
funny,
weren't ready
but
yet.
no, but
Yeah.
it took time, right? Because there's also this like waiting game, right? Where you're waiting for it to actually happen. Mm-hmm. Then you're waiting for your time to expire. Then you're waiting for your severance. Then you know what I mean? You're just waiting for a long time. Mm-hmm. So even when that finally happens, you're still kind of then in this in between,
The
right?
liminal space.
In the middle space, the neutral zone.
Yeah.
And again, it was important for me to feel that too. Like it just, I felt like there needs to be this finality and this closure to it where I can't rush it. I can't avoid it. I can't push it away.
You're just feeling it all.
I just got to
I
feel
think
it.
when you and I had our first chat, like just our hang because of our friend Brooklyn that connected us, you were, and not in a bad way, I think you were in tears within 5 minutes and you're like, I can't help it. All I do is cry these days. It just keeps coming. It keeps coming. And you were in that stage, just letting go. And I'm like, girl, keep crying. Let it out because I mean, think about it. That was your identity for 18 years. You were Mama KB, right? That was who you identified with. And after having a very, a very tumultuous childhood and not feeling like you belonged anywhere. You belonged somewhere and in a very pivotal, important role for 18 years.
Yeah.
And whether or not you had control over that departure, it doesn't matter. It's still all of a sudden like your son was going through. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
I'm now going through this liminal space and finding my new identity.
But you must feel some assurance that you're doing the right things because, I mean, with your new business, Unlock, you've already had a sold out session, right?
Yeah.
That's unheard of. Like your first ever and your reputation, everybody knows that this is like the right forum to come for leadership. So you're just going to continue filling out more sessions and seeing ongoing success. And it's so great. You also have a business partner whom you have a past relationship with as well.
Right. So Sarah Scurfield, she worked at Google for a very long time as well, like almost 13 years, and in marketing. And then she decided to go be an executive coach for herself. And we had actually hired her as our external facilitator for lead in our second year. So she was there building that with me in the second year and really iterating on that program.
You were already team, right?
So we were already teaming up.
Yeah.
And then it's funny how like when I was telling her that I'm leaving or that it's ending, even before it was done, I was in that waiting period. We had a good conversation, like, and I was a little like, do you want to do this with me? Like, do you want, should we? And it was like, yeah, like we shared the same dream. Like we shared the same dream of really helping leaders of all styles. Like we want leadership to be diverse and accepting of so many different approaches of leadership. And that was so important to us. We wanted to see different people stand in their power in these boardrooms, in these positions, and in these titles. And we feel so strong about that mission. It gives us so much purpose. And it was amazing to share that dream with her. And we shared a dream. We're like, we're going to do a weekend retreat and it's going to be a magical filled, like immersive, deep experience, right? Really connecting with people and really like being in it, And it was interesting to like really learn with her. And it's been great because I think being two women from tech, I think we're good at like not being too attached to outcomes and like iterating as you're,
Jenny and I know.
We're
aligned. We're aligned.
Iterating as you're building, speeding down the highway. You're like, we're good.
Jenny's like building websites.
Yeah.
I'm like uploading things. We're like, are we doing this right? We don't know. We're just gonna figure it out.
I know,
Hopefully
right?
We're learning every day.
Every day. You get scrappy, right?
Yep. Progress over perfection.
100%.
Let's get this out there because we know that this is going to be great.
Yeah.
So we pivoted away from the weekend format to a full day workshop, and we're doing a series.
Can you tell us a bit about what Unlock is?
Yeah.
What it's all about?
Yeah. For us, this programming is about, going into deep awareness, right, of yourself, observing, acknowledging, noticing, right, the different things. And we're going to have 3 different days, and we're going to sort of, repeat those days. So you can do all 3 or you can do just one. It's going to be kind of a choose your own adventure. But the idea is, and the first workshop that we just did last Friday is called Leadership Alchemy. Ooh. So it is about this process of transformation. And it is like taking, raw material and adding that friction and tension and heat and discomfort, right? Yeah. And the process of transformation and change isn't easy, right? It is a bit of a struggle. It's uncomfortable, but it's that like understanding and acknowledgement that you can then turn into something really magical, something really expansive and flowing and empowering.
Oh my gosh. Jenny, I want to do this.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. I'm definitely signing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it goes back to real, just like great prompts or, exercises that really focus on your reflection.
Did you take some of these exercises from the LEAD program and build on them?
Yes. I mean, this has been PwC, the work I did at PwC. Yes. It's also a program I did at Google. Okay. That was a women leadership program for senior women leaders called Polaris. And then it's also just like our own reading. Yeah. Sarah's coaching that she's done with hundreds of clients. And just like our own personal experiences. Like we both collectively have over 35 years of corporate and tech and marketing lived experience, right? So and people managing, right? And coaching people. So we're taking all of that inspiration, but we're also trying not to overdo it. I think there's a tendency to like pack too much in. And so we're trying to give lots of room for discussion and sharing because that's what women are really wanting. And I always felt bad because in the LEAD program, we'd always like cut because we're like, we got time, like we got a schedule, like so.
And also integration. Like I found when I did a retreat, similar in my story right now, but when I resigned from Twitter, I left the next day on a plane to California and I was in the desert for a week. And I think the biggest thing I learned was like, you can have the moment, you can get in, you can go into the tension and go through all the experiences and all those things, but then you need the time to integrate it all. Yeah. Because if you just leave and you're like, whoa, that was crazy, then you're not actually like learning from it. It's the integration, which is as important, if not more, than the actual experience, right? Yeah. So how do you, in a day, how do you layer in that integration piece?
So what we were doing and what we're playing around with is we have these like prompts and follow-on exercises in our workbook that are actually either AI prompts where you can actually leverage your favorite AI
Very
chatbot.
Google of you.
Whatever one you prefer. Now that I'm on the outside, I say
you can say either.
Yes. Yes, I'm agnostic.
Yes.
But you can either. We gave some like ready prompts that you can leverage, right, to do more on-demand, real-time coaching exploration. But we also have exercises or prompts on how to do it with your teams. Because these women are leaders and they're also women, I believe, that regardless of your title, you are leaders and they will expand. They will multiply the impact and learning that they've taken from that day and they're going to apply it, right, to their families, to their communities, to their teams. And so we're giving them different ways that they can actually continue that exploration. But we also hope that they'll sign up for the next session.
And are they actually a cohort now? Like now that they're part of this graduation of this, like is your plan to kind of have like a follow-up community, basically.
Yeah, we're exploring
These
that.
unlockers? What do you call yourself?
Yeah.
The unlockers?
I would love to see that cohort stay together for the next event, but also like, timing and all that. That's been one thing that we realize that women are so busy. So busy. Like, honestly, like Sarah and I were like, I don't know if we would have signed up for our weekend retreat. Like, could we have made it work? Like, we have between hockey and baseball and taekwondo and all the things, like it is crazy busy.
Yeah.
But I think the intentionality, the creating space, like it was amazing to hear from one of the participants, like that this woman was exhausted. Like she literally got off the plane at 1 a.m. the night before, like rolled into our event exhausted and then left energized.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so that's what we want to give back to these women who give so much of themselves. I think that the word legacy, right, comes into play here, where you're not just working and proving yourself and performing and perfecting and pleasing. You're actually doing something with purpose and intentionality to something that really means something to you. But I think starting with that, what is that thing?
So like, not to bring it full circle, but bring it full circle. Like you mentioned legacy, and like I'm like in awe right now of all of your accomplishments. But, and not to make us cry again, but taking it full circle, you're a mom now yourself, and you have children. You're bringing through your legacy. How does, like, now that you have gone through the journey to date, like you have a longer journey to go in your life, obviously, but all these experiences with Google and now launching Unlock, as a mother yourself, how does it feel?
I think I'm realizing there's been like a lifelong longing for a mother and a mother figure that I always wanted for myself. And I'm now like rewriting this whole like narrative and this, I don't know, story. And I'm like, I am that mother, right? Like I can be the mother that loves myself and nurtures myself and like has unconditional love. And then how I express that and connect with my children and like my core values are connection and belonging. And so how do I foster that with them, like in all those moments that I can? But you know what? It's actually crazy when you have a daughter who's 14 and going through, that age, you realize how much systemic stuff exists. Like this is not just like, I can't teach her everything or I can't prevent everything, like for the fact that she is so accomplished in her sport, and yet she will never talk about it outside of like that group of people that know she does it. She will never talk about it. People don't know she does taekwondo. They don't know that she's like a 2nd degree black belt. They don't know that she like, was a provincial champion recently. Like she literally won't, because she says, I don't want to brag. Right. And so the fact that like I can be a role model to her as much as I can, but like the fact that girls and women will have that story, that narrative in their head that you can't talk about your accomplishments, you can't own them or claim them, that it's bragging. And so we still have so much work to do. Yeah. Like I refer back to a story of when my kids were in grades, like I want to say grade 1 and grade 5, and they received certificates from their school. It was like a weird thing. But my son received a certificate for working hard. Okay. And if you know my son, he doesn't work that hard. Like, okay, he will find the shortcut. He likes to do things as fast as possible. He's like, he'd rather talk his way out of a situation than actually do it,
He'll do well in life.
Yeah, he'll do great in life. He's super confident and like he's a whole
life skills.
He's a whole thing, right? He should be in sales. But then my daughter got a certificate and it said for being nice.
Oh, wow.
And it was like seeing the certificates side by side. I was like literally like, WTF, for me, I was like, this is so systemic
in the school system.
Good girl, nice girl, like, don't brag. Like this stuff is so deep in our culture and in our mindset and our psyche. And it is creating such a disconnection Like when I talked about the disconnection of myself and my body and not being able to look in my own reflection and see that person, like this is what we're experiencing. And so for Sarah and I and the work that I think we're doing in Unlock, it is being able to reconnect with yourself, your whole self, so that you can be the leader that leads from a place of wholeness, right? And not somebody who's constantly second guessing themselves and ruminating and like, not self-advocating, not setting boundaries, not saying no, like all of these things, because we're so grounded in fear or scarcity. And our work is like, let's hold polarity. Like let's hold that two opposite things can be true at the same time. And I think that if we can hold more space for opposing ideas and thoughts and actually figuring out how they actually are together, like one concept, it was actually super interesting in our workshop last Friday, because we had started out with the idea that confidence and being humble were actually opposites. And so we explored that of like, well, what's good about being confident? What's bad about being confident? Or what's good about being humble? What's bad about being humble? And we started out with those two tension points. And it was interesting because most of the room agreed with that you couldn't actually be confident and humble. But then there were women in the room that were like, actually, I don't see how you can be, confident without having humility. Like those things are actually intertwined for me.
I'm in that camp for sure.
Right.
100%.
But it depends, right, on how you look at things. It depends on the perspective. We're applying so much meaning to words, right? And we're deciding. We've attached stories and meanings saying this is good and this is bad, right? But what if we were actually able to hold two opposing ideas and say, well, there's good and there's bad. And there's so much diversity in how you're coming to that conclusion or coming to that space or to that word.
There's no right or wrong answer.
So it's just different.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I definitely feel like I'm very self-aware of like what I need to work on, but then I should celebrate when I overcome those fears or whatever I feel like I need to work on, but I don't do that enough. But I can see how those two can be both combined together. Yeah. That there's like humility that comes with this like confidence, right? And that when you really know your stuff and you're really doing something that you're good at, or your gifts or your talents are being shown, like you don't need to brag about it. Right?
Yeah.
I thought it was also interesting how you shared, and sorry, maybe this is too early to talk about it, but that you were considering of bringing workshops to men.
Yes.
And for them to also think about how they're working with women. So can you share a little bit on that?
Yeah. I mean, something that Sarah and I really want to do. We don't know how we're going to do it, right? And we think maybe we'll bring other men into it, or maybe we'll collaborate just to create the right dynamic and the right space. But like a dream of mine, I'm going to say out loud in front of people is I want to do workshops just for men, and I want them to cry. I want them to be in the room and I want them to cry. Because I do think, and when I've talked to men and told them that, they're like, yeah, we need this. They need it. But there's so much preventing them from letting their guard down, right? And it's been interesting when we did the LEAD program, we had a lot of male managers and a lot of male mentors that were part of the program, and they were so invested in it. But I remember hosting different roundtables with just men. And just like moments of like awareness and reflection and like, and it's not me too, right? It's like, oh, like I do this too, but this is crazy. And like, they're realizing so much and they're growing so much. And like, I don't want it to feel like we're just in this echo chamber. I want actually to create change where everyone, and when I say leadership is everyone of all styles and all like, perspectives, and like, we can't just do that singularly, right? I think men need this as much as women do,
well,
but
it's like what you're saying, it goes both ways. Like your kids' example of the certificates, right? I mean, it's systemic too. I mean, men are supposed to be a certain way.
Yes.
And if they don't fall into that, like working hard, being a certain way, then they are ostracized or judged, right? So it's also not fair to them. Like they need to have an outlet. They need to feel like they can connect and not feel shame around it.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the thing for sure. I'm sure we all know the like, there is so much shame or there's so much that they hold in. Right. And so, yeah, I think like it could be just as magical and as transformational and as amazing to have people who are in a position of power or who have the ability to be in a position of power to do that, to lift others around them.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And I think I am gravitating obviously towards women because I feel like women, and I feel like this is just, I don't know, my truth is that women they will lift their communities. They will lift people around them, like invest in women and they will lift others. Right. So for me, that's just so important. But I think that truth can be just as much as, lift anyone, right? Lift anyone and have them feel connected and belonging and wholeness. And like, there can only be good, right? That comes out of that.
Oh, you are building great things.
Yeah.
You are a very impressive woman.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're such an inspiration.
Such an inspiration.
Before we close things out, I know you talked earlier about manifestation and how you guys are both really into the woo.
So much. Yes.
How did you get into that? Like, what made you believe in that?
I think like I'm not a religious person. I believe like I love religion because I think it builds community, right? And social support. And I think that's so important. But I'm not a religious person. But I believe in spirituality. That makes sense.
It does.
And I'm just open. Like I just feel open to different experiences, and I'm willing to sort of take a risk, I think. And so I've met with different fortune tellers and like psychics, and then we have this brilliant coach that we both work with, Brooklyn, and
who she actually came into Google, right? Like she was part of your program.
She was one of our coaches.
Yeah,
She's in. She's what I think she defines herself as more of an intuitive.
Yeah.
And I have recommended her to other people, and people recommended her to me, and everyone first session bawling, like everyone's bawling first session.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even see that? Or how do you even know that? Like, I haven't even said anything.
Well, that's so true, because the first time I met Brooklyn, I was ready. It was during the pandemic. And usually it was a conventional therapist. You have to have the whole backstory, blah, blah. She knew everything. And I was like, whoa, we've just like fast tracked. It's like 10 normal sessions of a regular therapist where she knew my story. She didn't have to ask me. She just knew, which was so overwhelming for me. But then just there's a peace with it too, because you don't have to say it. She just knows. It's crazy.
I love that she guided you to where you are today.
Yeah, I think she has really opened my eyes to this idea of abundance has been my word that she and I worked on together for this year, which has been incredibly helpful considering how much you could be in the mindset of scarcity when you're losing your job, when you're unsure of your finances, when you don't know what you're going to do next, like all of these things, right? You can immediately just be in a state of fear and scarcity. But the word abundance has been something that has been forming and shaping for me and with her over, before this even started. And this idea that there's this visualization of me where I am holding a lot, like I have so much capacity and I have so much, but it's not heavy, like it's just, it's light, and but I'm expansive and I have more to give, and it's like fulfilling and like, and so that's been a real strong vision for me. But it's given me confidence, right, to say the things out loud to other people. And I think it's so important to like have that vulnerability and courage to do it. And you just don't know what, how it's going to happen. It's not how you expect it, but I feel like there is sort of this meant to be, and trusting and being open and having faith, in your own abilities and your capability. But there's a lot of work, I think, that gets to you to that point of like feeling like I am so capable. I can do this. And yeah, it's really helped me because I'm like, I've gone through, you know, such a roller coaster of like, being like, okay, I'm not a Googler anymore. But that's okay. And I like, don't really know what's going to happen. But I just know like I'm so capable. I'm so resilient, and I am going to continue to work on my becoming whole. And that's great.
Ugh, amazing. So excited to see what comes next.
Do you want to share
Yes.
with everyone when your next event is going to be?
Yes. So January 23rd, we're actually running Leadership Alchemy again.
This is the 1-day event, right?
Yes, the 1-day event. It's like 9:30 till 5, basically at the Boulevard Club. And it is, a repeat of what we just did last Friday with a new group. And so we're going to announce that very soon. This is actually pre-announcement.
Yeah.
Sarah and I just landed on the date this morning as I'm coming in on the GO train. So we're still very scrappy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our next date. We'll probably have another date in February for our event 2, which will be more focused on things like legacy, and really defining who you are as a leader. So those are themes we're going to explore in the next event. But yeah, Leadership Alchemy is coming January 23rd. Look at our, we're on LinkedIn, Unlock Leadership Collective. Our website is just unlockleadershipcollective.com, and on Instagram, same thing. So we'll be announcing that. But yeah.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to share it in our show notes as well.
Absolutely. We'll be your first sign-ups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't wait.
I would love that.
Want some fun rapid fire just to lighten things up? for the end
Sure,
of the
yeah,
episode?
yeah.
You go ahead.
What's your zodiac sign?
This is a fun one because I don't really know. So on my, because my documents were forged or made up. So my birth date that I celebrate, which is on all my Canadian documentation, is November 23rd. So Sagittarius. But then when I met my birth mother, she told me that my birth date's actually March 16th, which is Pisces.
Which you and I connected on.
Yes.
We're both Pisces. My brother's birthday is March 16th as well.
Yeah.
So when we were both crying together on our first call, we're like, we're both Pisces.
I think I identify more with the water sign for
I think
sure.
you are definitely a water sign.
Yeah, I think I'm Pisces. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm learning as well to just have like not needing this certainty. Like I think I was very focused on finding the truth and understanding and knowing all these things. And now I'm just like, okay, the truth that I know is right in front of me, and I'm just going to focus on that versus trying to keep digging into my past at this point. But there's a lot of answers, and I'm choosing the birth date that I think is younger. So,
Why not? Yeah. And the sign you align to most, like you said, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I love it. Are there any podcasts that speak to you? Maybe your top 3 favorite podcasts to share with the audience?
I would say anything with Brene Brown, Adam Grant, or Oprah. I love Oprah. I'm going to manifest. I'm going to meet her someday. I'm going to say it right now. I would love to.
Amazing.
But yeah, those 3 I think are incredible. And just every time I listen, I'm always like, rewind. Like I need to hear that again because it's just so insightful and interesting. And I just love anything around like neuroscience and like understanding neuroplasticity of your brain and how it can be rewired for change. Like it was a book from Oprah and Dr. Bruce Perry. It's called What Happened to You. I know it's not a podcast, but they do have podcast series, I think, built on this book. But that book changed my life because it made me realize or hopeful that like my past trauma would not define me forever, and that my brain could actually be rewired for change, and I could be changed, and I could be different, and I could be the person that I want to be, and not someone who is, filled with trauma.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much. I mean, your story is so vulnerable and beautiful. You are such an inspiring woman, honestly. Like, I'm just blown away by your story and where you're going. We're there for you every step of the way. We'll be the first signups for your next event. And just thank you so much.
Thank you.
For your time today
Thank
and sharing.
you so much.
Thanks for joining. We hope you are feeling as inspired as we are to shake things up and drive positive change. If
If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and give us our show rating. We'll catch you on the next one.